Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
All right, I'm feeling like some fire today. Some fire today to put under your booty, to get you moving, to get you to take action, to go, now is the time. So, let's talk about this. If you're waiting for a sign, we've all seen that meme, right? Dot, 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 this is it. If you're waiting for a sign, Now listen, there's nothing wrong with saying like, I'm wanting to do this thing, I, want to have this conversation with this person. I feel called to do this thing in business, or I have this idea, or I want to write it. There's nothing wrong with having that feeling and saying, the timing's not right. It doesn't feel like something doesn't feel aligned right now. But here's the deal. With so much love, it's most likely the voice that you're hearing, which says don't do it, is not the voice of alignment. It's not your real inner knowing. It's fear speaking. I remember, this is probably 3 years ago, that I would have this question often from clients, and that people listen to the podcast and to just say, you know what, Karen, you talk about the voice, which is that inner knowing, which is what I kind of used to refer to it as. Really, it is source, it is God, it's the divine, it's the universe, it's Mother Nature, it's love, it's whatever you want to label it, right? But this knowing that we have, this inner spiritual GPS. And then you talk about fear, right? Which I now speak into that being, well, fear is ego. It is that part of us. And by the way, ego, when I talk about this, ego I talk about like in Course in Miracles. Ego you'll hear in the works of people like Eckhart Tolle, okay? Or who else would be, like Wayne Dyer and Gabby Bernstein and Daniel Laporte. Like the ego is not like, oh, that person has a big ego. No. The ego is this part of us that we created to protect ourselves, to keep us small, to keep us quote unquote safe. Okay, it's a part of us. It's okay. It's not about getting rid of ego completely, or what I believe to be true. But the question I would get is like, hey Karen, what's the difference between like that inner knowing and ego or fear, right? And the way I often would explain is, well, fear is going to tell you, or ego is going to tell you, in the way that I speak into this now, it's going to tell you to not do something. It's going to tell you to not do something. Like, hold back, shrink, play small, like, don't do that. That's a big mistake. You're an idiot if you do that. You're going to fail. Like, that's ego. That's fear, right? Whereas that inner knowing is just like, take a jump. I know it's scary. Go for it. Right? That is. And I still kind of stand by that, that is that difference. And so sometimes we are waiting for a sign. Right? That we just say, okay, universe, you know what? Please show me a sign today. And by the way, you can ask specifically for that sign. I just finished reading Super Attractor by Gabby Bernstein. Amazing book. Amazing. I really like her work. I don't know why, but for the longest time I would see her stuff and be like, ugh, this is like spiritual. I judged her. I was like, oh, this is spirituality like light, Late. Like if you get an app, you can get like the light version, which is the freebie one. Like that's the assumption I made. And I've since found, after reading 3 of her books, that is absolutely not true. I think she's brilliant. I think the way that she delivers her message is in a way that a lot of people can really hear, and that's beautiful. But one of the things that she talks about in Super Attractor is like, you can specifically ask. So she gives the example of, she went through a journey of trying to conceive for a couple of years. And, it wasn't happening. She's like, type A girl, like, I'm going to get this done kind of thing. And then she was all right. I surrender to this whole experience, this whole process. And there's a story that she shares in the book, I think it's a couple different times, but where she says, universe, please show me, like, and I don't know, whatever she came up with, lilies, but it was, I don't know, there's lilies on her desk or something. I don't know what it was exactly, but just like, please show me the sign of a lily to let me know that I'm on track, that this baby is coming at the time that this baby needs to come. And, that kind of all is well. And And she shares in the story, I think it's in this one, because I think she shares it a couple different times actually, where then, have you ever had this? Where suddenly a song starts playing in your car. Okay, like you go, maybe you've got Bluetooth and it kind of just starts playing a certain song, or you maybe turn on the radio. Maybe you just go to play something and it just starts playing that song. This has happened to me actually twice recently, and it's happened to me several times before. And it was the song, one of the titles in the word was something about like lilies. Right? So freaky, right? You might have those experiences and go, oh, it's a coincidence. And, you know, my personal belief is there's no such thing as that. Everything is happening as it should. Even the shitty stuff, by the way. So in other words, you can specifically ask for a sign with that. You got to be really lined. You got to be really clear, right? Of like, please, and the more specific that you ask of that, the better. Because the universe kind of knows. If it's like, oh, just show me a sign that, you know, you might kind of get some feedback. You might not. You also might not get a sign, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the only thing, right? But sometimes it is kind of assuring to know that God, universe, your angels, your guides, you know, that they're just kind of like, hey, man, like, you're good. Like, it's like a high five. You can call this like a spiritual high five. Like, I got you. Like, you are on the right track. It is okay. I know it seems bleak right now. I know you're trying and like things aren't happening as you should, but it's like, it's okay. We got you, sister. We're right here. You got this whole team. Let us help you. Let us do some of the heavy lifting together. And so if you're waiting for a sign, which you can and you ask, as I've just talked about, why don't you maybe consider that this podcast right now is it? This is it. This is the sign you've been waiting for. The action you're trying to take, the thing you're wanting to do, the challenge that you're going through. This is the sign. And here's what I want you to hear in this today. Like, just please let go. Let go of all of the shit that you're holding on to. Oh my God, it's heavy. It's heavy. Stop attaching to all these ways of how you think it needs to or it should be. Like, let all that go. Know that everything that is happening right now is serving. It's serving. It's serving you. It's serving the people you love in your life. It's serving in a big way that you can't see right now. It's like, you know, the universe has all these little puzzle pieces, right? And like, we're pieces of the puzzle. So we can't see the big picture that's being put together right now. But it is. It is. I promise you it is. I promise you. And you don't have to know how that's all fitting together right now, right? My experience has been that the more that you're really open to that, of like, you know what? This thing is happening right now, little, big, whatever it is. It sucks. It doesn't feel good. You know, I feel stressed. I feel anxious. I feel scared. I feel panicky. I feel overwhelmed. Any of those things. But you just go, I'm going to feel this stuff. I'm going to feel these things. And then I'm just going to give it over to the universe. Like, all right. I'm just going to let it go. It's serving me on some level. I don't need to know right now. The more that I have given into that, the more that I see that with my clients when I encourage them to do the same, the kind of the message, the inspiration of like, oh, this is why this happened. My experience has been, again, with my clients, is that it more often than not comes quickly to you. Like, you get that feedback. Why? Because you're open. You're like, all right, let me just let this go. Like, I'm just trusting, right? And that's the other thing I want you to hear from this sign right now. Please trust that all is well. Trust. I know it's hard. I know you want to control all the pieces of it. I know that experience very well. And I know that you feel that as you feel like you're losing control, you actually makes you want to control even more, right? Because you might kind of go, well, there's all these other pieces. There's 99 things that are happening in my life that are not good, but there's this one that I still got like my hand on it. Let me just hold on to that like a mofo, like I'm not letting go. I'm controlling this piece, right? But you have to let go. And listen, when I say let go, I don't mean like let go of the idea you have, let go of, the relationship, let go of, whatever it is that you're trying, it doesn't mean that. It could mean that to you. But I just let go of the attachments, let go of the stories, let go of the tension in your body that's just trying to resist and control and direct and force and, like even just describing that right now, because I know that experience. I know that experience very, very deeply. It sucks. It is it's like resistance. It's resistance. It doesn't allow for flow. It doesn't allow for you, by the way, to even see the signs that you were waiting to receive. So yes, you can put the request out to the universe saying, let me look for that sign. You could take this podcast as like, this is the sign. I've been waiting for a sign. Here's Karen's doing a podcast episode about like, if you're waiting for the message or the sign, like this is it right now, right? Or you know what? You can actually just decide the sign right now is I'm going to go. The sign is right now is I'm going to take action. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to do the thing. Scared. Knowing that courage really is about doing something you feel fully aligned to do and doing it scared. That's courage. To me, that's courage. Doing something difficult that scares you and you still go ahead and you do it anyways. When it's very aligned with who you are. When it's very aligned with who you are. So let me give you a really good example, okay? You've been hearing me talk about in the podcast the last few weeks about the Women Wanting More Retreat Experience 2020. Okay, so this is a very intensive, beautiful, loving, supportive. There will be 12 women there. There's 8 seats left. 4 women are confirmed so far and have invested in themselves and be like, I'm in, that are just, they're at a space in their life, right? Where they're just crisis, crossroads, like, God, I don't know what to do. I've been trying. And so I've been feeling, inside me, like it's time for me to do this again. I haven't had a live event for almost 2 years. It's been a long time and I was doing a lot of them. And it just kind of felt like I needed to stop and reset for a little bit, but it was coming to me again. And I just, straight up, man, feeling an event, like you stepping forward and saying, I'm going to go. It is not an easy feat. Okay. It is not an easy feat. And so I was filled with all the stories of like, oh God, it's like, I love doing the events. Like I love them. I love the transformation. It is the fastest way to get from where you are to where you want to be. Like it is like boom, because what happens is you fly out here to Victoria, BC. You're away from family, the kids and spouse and or partner and work and all the stuff of life. And like we go into this bubble where 2 days feels like 2 weeks. Like it's just, there's so much that can be healed and transformed in 2 days. And so the experience itself is amazing. The lead up to it can definitely be past experience, a handful. Okay, a handful. And there'll be a lot of women that will say to me like, oh yeah, I want to come to your next event. And then when push comes to shove, there's just a lot of talk, right? And that's okay. And that's where some women are. Maybe that's been you. Like, there's no shaming this. There's no judgment. It's just an acceptance of that, right? So I literally, as I started, it was just like, there was first a whisper, Karen, you got to do this event. So it was this. And it's like, no, you got to do it totally different you've ever done. No more of this like ass kicking stuff and in your face and any of that kind of stuff. It's just like, to me, transformation can come from a really deep space of joy and compassion. And yeah, there's some dark stuff in there too, but there's a way to do it where it's not so heavy. And I figured that out because I do this with my own personal healing over the last like year and a half, 2 years. Like there's a way to do this differently. And I feel really, really called to do it. It's like, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you even notice that like the way that I'm delivering this message is very different. It is in a way a bit of a different message, right? It's not like, come on, man, just do the fucking work and like stop complaining and blah. So my feeling of giving you some fire today is not to be like in your face, like I'm pointing my finger at you, right, on tapping on your chest kind of thing, like wake up, right? That can be useful. But that's not my MO anymore, because that's not who I am. There is a way to, oh man, do this in such a, even though that can be done in a very loving and compassionate space, there's a way to do it that I really see now that as women, we just beat ourselves up all the time anyways. We don't need to have that done. We just don't. It, for some women, it just kind of pushes you deeper down that tunnel. So there's a way of doing this on the light. And so as this was coming up for me to like do this event, I was like, okay, all right, let's do this, right? There for sure has been some of these stories of like, oh, well, how about this? How about that? It's not the right timing, all this stuff. And I just went, no, it's time. I just really felt aligned. I didn't have a sign that popped up for me outside of this really deep knowing of it's time. So an example again of, I didn't have to wait for a sign. I decided on the sign. I decided on the time. When I got really still and I went, nope, it's time for me to drop these stories about it's really tough to like fill up an event and all the work that's leading up to it. And, like, no, nope. I'm going to drop all that stuff because that's heavy. That's heavy. Which is not the way I'm doing this retreat experience either, right? I want women to come out of this and feel refreshed and nourished and loved and held and supported through this experience and even after when they get home, right? With these tools and this continuing of a sisterhood past the 2 days here coming up in about 2 weeks. But if you're waiting for a sign with something in your life right now, like, this is it. This is it. Have this be the sign. Have this be the sign. Like, just close your eyes and receive this right now. I know it's tough for us as women, right? We just give and we give and we give and we pour so much love into everybody else, and it is hard to receive. That feminine energy, that divine in us is very nurturing and giving and loving, but we also have to learn how to receive that. That's another piece we're going to get in this retreat as well too. Because when I can receive that from others, oh man, that like fills me up to give even more. When I can care for myself and love myself, warts and all, mistakes and all, trusting, knowing it all served, it's okay, it's what I knew to be best at the time. No guilt, no shame, like all those stories, gone, like just like chopped it right off, like nope. This is a super weird analogy. Okay, here's what's coming through to me right now. I remember, I don't know if you've ever known this experience, okay? If you've ever lived in a place where there was snow and cold, I remember actually knowing a couple, it's like friends of the family or something, where they had a cat that was outside and the cat's tail got frozen in the snow. And because it would be like, you'd see a cat and you go, oh, what happened to its tail? Or it'd have a little nub or something, right? And it's like, oh, the tail got stuck in like the snow and frozen. They were outside one night. And so, I guess the cat just ended up probably like struggling out of it to keep warm and just like, whoosh, like, I'm sorry, that's an awful analogy. I don't know why that came through, but it came through right now. But I want you, if it's, maybe just, again, I'm just trusting this, right? Trust. Think of that, like all that guilt, that shame, the stories. It's like, just tear yourself away from it. Like that cat with their tail stuck in the frozen snow. Like just tear away from it. And we're going to do this really, really not so aggressively at the retreat experience coming up in January 2020. But yeah, if you're waiting for a sign, like this is it. You don't need to hold back anymore. You don't need to try to figure out how you're going to make things happen. That's not how it works. It's just not how it works. It's not. And, if you're being really honest, you're stalling, you're procrastinating, you're saying, well, I need to have the time all lined up. I got to have the money all lined up. I have to have like the resources. I'm not ready yet. All that kind of stuff. You and I both know, so much love, because I've been there, that those are just excuses. They are. It's just you saying, I'm afraid, so I'm going to create all these reasons as to why I can't do it. And really what that's saying is I'm scared. And it's okay to be scared. Give your permission to do something scared. To take that jump, to take that leap. Look at our kids, man. Climbing stuff, making new friends every day. Like, man, if you're a parent or an auntie, you got friends that have kids, like just watch the children. God, those kids are just like little sages and teachers for us. They're mirrors for us. Whether they're your own children or others, like, and they're not fearless, by the way. they just do stuff scared. Just like a toddler, falling down, getting back up, falling down, getting back up. They just keep moving forward. And so if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. This is it. So here's your more tip for today, okay? If you're listening to this podcast, you've been hearing me talk about the retreat experience because I'm going to go there. These spots are filling up. Like, this is filling up faster than past events. And I know a big piece of it is because I've decided to get out of my own way. Sometimes I got to keep deciding that each day, but I get out of my own way. And guess what? Women are just like coming in who are like just very, like they're ready. They're ready. And they really want to be a part of this. And it still is by application. You can't just go, I'm ready, Karen. I got time. You know, here's the investment. I'm paying for my tuition. I've got my flight. Like, no. It means to be more. We still have to, like, you know, see if you are fit. So here's what you need to do: apply. Okay. So if you're feeling like, man, oh my God, she keeps talking about this retreat and, like, I'm scared out of my mind. And P.S., every woman who's ever come to my live event is in that space. Every woman. I'm telling you right now. Every woman. They don't go, woo, yeah, I'm doing something. I have no idea what's going down, but yeah, let's bring it. Nope, they're scared. They're scared. And so if you're in that place, it is normal, okay? But you're hearing this, you don't know how it's going to happen, but you feel really called to it, apply. It's apply. You'll never know unless you take that step. You're waiting for a sign for it? This is it right now, okay? So 2 ways to apply. Number one, text me. This is what most women are doing. It's just easy, right? You're probably listening to this podcast on your phone right now anyways. I'm recording this on my phone. We all have our phones attached to us, right? Like they're like an appendage now. So text me, 250-589-4811, 250-589-4811, and say, Karen, I'd like to apply for the retreat. That's it. And then I'll send the application to get started, okay? You can also email me, drkarenosburn@gmail.com, drkarenosburn@gmail.com. Same thing, Karen, I'd like to apply, okay? But text is going to be easiest. 250-589-4811. You just pick up your phone right now and go, all right, I'm going to take the deep dive. It might be a fit, it might not be, but you'll never know unless you take a jump and you listen to this sign right now. Okay? And that's it. That's your more tip for today. If you're feeling called to apply, this is your sign. Now is the time. 250-589-4811. Karen, I want to apply. That's it. Easy peasy. I love you, sister. I love you, brother. I'll talk to you in the next episode. A life of more really is one step away from realizing that everything around you is a sign, really, every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.